All right. Lou Wise, I have Lou on the phone with us.
Oh, great. That's perfect. I was just, I had a bit of trouble reaching, I was calling the number, and it kept giving me, like, an error message.
Oh, okay.
Hi, Meg.
Hi, how are you?
Okay.
You were calling the company number and getting an error message?
Yeah.
Really?
Oh, there's something we need to make note of, Lou.
Yeah.
What number are you calling?
What number were you dialing, please?
I was dialing I tried both. I tried the one listed in your signature in your email. I did the 973-808-8800.
That's the fax machine.
And then, I think that's
8800 is out. That's the direct.
No, it's 8300.
No, you're right. 8300. Is it 8800 someplace that you're looking at, Meg?
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's I guess Louis, it's on your signature.
You're right. Signature says 8800.
You got to make
sure.
sure.
Okay, we're good now. Yeah, it's an easy fix. So I sent the questions over yesterday. Did you both receive those?
Yeah.
We have them, and we've been through them, yes.
Okay.
We hope we're ready for you.
Okay, perfect. Some of them we may skip over, and just some of the more the ones that are a little bit more straightforward, I might skip over in terms of time. But we'll see where we get. So,
right. Before you start, I would like to ask a question.
Sure.
What is? Do you know yet what the theme of the article is supposed to be about?
Oh yeah, we're really talking about really I think the story is really interesting of how manufacturing talk radio was created, and then what it intends to become and what it has been. So hence why talking a little bit about your backgrounds would make sense.
Okay.
In terms of why this radio show was created.
Okay, great.
Yeah, and just to have all that information, in case, we also have, I read about manufacturing a lot, and it's always good to have on hand, too, for dailies or for other news stories, too, for resources.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Great.
Very good.
Okay. I wasn't sure about this, but do you broadcast from Fairfield?
Fairfield, New Jersey.
Okay. And if both of you want to answer this question of just what manufacturing is to you and what do you think it accomplishes every week?
Mm-hmm.
And your voices are actually slightly similar on the phone. If you can just say, this is Tim or this is Lou. That way I quote you guys accurately.
How about if I sing my answers?
I mean, you could do that too.
Yeah, I have to practice my singing for when we're on the air. The show, what is it that manufacturing talk every week? Okay. There's a difference from what we were doing from in the beginning and what we're doing now, almost 2 years and 100 shows later. We're truly, I believe, bringing qualified people to the forefront of manufacturing to answer questions and present information and vital data today because the technology in the marketplace is changing so rapidly that it's hard to keep up with. So we hope we're making a contribution. Tim?
Yeah, Megan, this is Tim.
Yep.
You know, manufacturing talk radio is something more than a one-off radio show.
Mm-hmm.
If you go to the website, what you'll find is a repository of all of the shows that we've ever done.
Yep.
Interlaced with that, we're building in resource material so that someone in manufacturing who hears a story on the skills gap can go into the website, hear the show again, dig into the resource material. So it's really more than just a singular radio show. It's an information resource.
Gotcha.
And that's what we try to build on every week.
Great. And Lou, I know that when you called to talk about setting up the interview, we talked about, you know, how the radio show even came about and why. And so if you want to talk a little bit about that and how, Tim, how you got involved.
Tell her the 2 a.m. story, Lou.
I used to have a sleeping problem. Now I have 2 companies, and now I don't sleep quite the same. No, I woke up in the middle of the night, and I'm always thinking and always cooking some bubbles for marketing purposes. And one of the problems that the metal company, All Metals and Forge Group, has had is that competitors over, 30, 40-year period of time have been able to ultimately catch on and copy the kind of things that we did, and they were then doing it, and then, we now had to change. And I was struggling with the idea as to how to make a change that they can't change unless it's really painful. And I woke up in the middle of the night, sitting right up, and I said, radio. And I called Tim in the morning. I said, Tim, I think I got it. Let's talk about it. And 2 weeks later was our first show. And like I said earlier, we've done now just over 100 shows. So that was the birth. It was like being struck by lightning. Hello?
I think she's ready.
Oh.
Megan, you still there? Uh-oh.
Sounds like she didn't like
It's like being on the radio.
Didn't sound like
It's like being on the radio show and losing our guest.
Yeah. All right, so what do you want to do? Holly?
Yeah, and I still show her as connected with us, but I cannot hear her.
Well, I suggest hanging up and trying again.
Yeah, let me do that.
Wait, hold on.
Megan?
Yeah. Now how do we do this?
Do you want me to transfer her to your cell phone? Or are you on your cell
No,
phone?
I'm on my cell phone.
And you're on the conference call?
And I'm on the conference call. Do you know the conference?
Do you know what? How about if I switch her to my cell phone and I give her to you?
Okay.
Would that work? Because I don't know how to do more phone calls
okay.
onto that.
Okay.
To speaker it.
All right.
If we're on both.
Okay. Hang in there.
Meg Fry?
Hello?
Hi, Meg.
Hello?
Hi, this is Lou.
This is Tim.
Yeah, Lou? Oh, all right. Perfect. I can hear both of you.
Sorry about that. So much for technology. And
No,
age, right?
it happens all the time. No worries. Okay, let's see. So you were talking about how competitors were copying some of the materials that you manufacture, and you woke up in the middle of the night with an idea.
They were copying our marketing and branding style.
Okay.
And,
gotcha. Okay.
And we wanted to come up with something that was different, hard to copy and duplicate, if not impossible. And I don't know where you left off in my telling you the story, so if I've already repeated myself, let me know.
Okay. I think we're good.
Okay. Now, I had awakened in the middle of the night one night, and I came up with radio. And the next morning, I called Tim, and I said, our next marketing venture for All Metals and Forge is going to be a radio program. And within 2 weeks, we had Manufacturing Talk Radio up and running, and we did our first show, which was November of 13. So it's going to be 2 years next month that we've been doing the show.
Great. And how did you know Tim?
Tim and I, we go back, what is it, Tim, 22 years, 23 years?
Yeah, 22 years.
Tim and I have, I've been in the metals industry for over 50 years, and at some point, Tim came in as a consultant to aid and assist and be a strategist, thought provoker, thought leader, and so all that buzz stuff. And we've been together ever since, doing all kinds of business opportunities.
Okay, great. And you said it took about 2 weeks to get up and running and doing your own show, so I'm just wondering what that experience was like.
Tim, why don't you start that?
You know, you hear a lot of radio shows that come off very professional. And we found a company online that does radio shows, and we talked to them, and they could accommodate at that time our needs. But the technology isn't, well, at least back then, wasn't quite what it is today. It wasn't quite up to snuff. So in the middle of the show, we would have an experience like we just had with you. Suddenly our guest is gone. Or worse, one of the hosts is gone.
Or the engineer goes out to the bathroom and doesn't tell us.
Right, and we've had that happen. You know, you're nearing the end of the show, and the engineer is going to run the extra, and he's not there running the extra. So what do you do, Holly?
We start dancing and singing.
So that really is, it wasn't terribly difficult, but I will tell you that keeping it going is the real trick, because it requires a constant drumbeat of guests. Much like keeping NJBIZ going requires a constant drumbeat of new articles.
Absolutely.
You know, when you think that when you get a couple of weeks booked, it's almost like going on vacation for a week, where you don't have to be constantly thinking about the next topic, the next show, watching the current news, seeing what the hot stories are. And on top of that, we're doing social media and content marketing. So we've got, right now, we've got 5 in staff running this company.
Oh, wow, okay. And so it started as a marketing tool. Does the radio show now generate a profit? Or does it generate any revenue?
You'd have to use real fancy financing to show a profit.
Okay.
Tim?
All right.
It's like
so basically anything that the show makes gets reinvested into the show?
Yeah, it's like anything else that's a startup, really, Megan. You're dealing with having to build your audience, build your brand, get traffic, measure traffic, be able to discuss traffic with advertisers, and then move forward with, ad slots and that kind of thing. So we're getting there where we can actually document what's going on, but keep in mind that we actually broadcast something called IM. There's AM radio, there's FM radio, then there's XM radio, and then there's something called IM, which is Internet Modulated Radio. We go out across the Internet. And that's a whole different broadcast animal because the reach is global. So measuring where your audience is interesting. Trust me.
Huh. Is there, and when you look at those measurements, is there any interesting findings?
Well, I guess the most interesting findings that we've run across is that we do, in fact, have listeners globally. We have comments coming in from Brazil, India, China, Europe, of course, the U.S. I don't think we've gotten anything yet from Antarctica, but we do, in fact, have listeners all over the planet. I don't know why people are up at 2 in the morning listening to our radio show, but I guess some places they are.
Well, their 2 in the morning is 2 in the afternoon. That's partly the reason.
And that, so what have you found then to be the benefits and potential drawbacks of broadcasting from New Jersey then?
None, really.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure because we do it across the internet that there are any drawbacks. And
Okay.
I'll tell you the benefits. And the benefits are Lou was on a business sojourn to Brazil. Happened to be on a Sunday he left, so on Monday he's in Brazil. On Tuesday we're doing a radio show. So we have a host in São Paulo, Brazil. We have a host in Atlanta, Georgia, myself. We have an engineer in New Jersey, and we have guests from 3 other parts of the world on the show, all at the same time. So it's not studio bound. Those walls go away.
Right.
It's new radio.
And your list. How many listeners do you have? You have over 100,000 now.
We've had within the last 2 years 100,000 plus listeners.
Okay. And do you know by how much that's growing?
It's hard to say because it happens. There's seems to be a seasonality to this a bit. So, for example, this last July or August, Europe goes on vacation for the month of August. So does South America, and the United States, for the most part, is about 15% on vacation. So summer months tend to drop off, and then by mid-September it picks up again. And when I say picks up, it could pick up 20-25% at a turn of a screw. I would say over a period of time, I'm looking at 20-25% increase. And there's a couple of things that Tim and I have on the drawing board that could significantly increase that in a much shorter period of time. And that's what's going to and that's what's going to give us the ability to become an aggressive media company that actually operates in the black.
Gotcha. Okay. Now, in terms of talking about the subjects that you talk about, in both of your opinions, the top 3 issues facing manufacturing, and then kind of thinking about it globally in the U.S. and New Jersey.
You want to take that, Tim?
Yeah, Lou and I will probably kick that one back and forth, but I'll tell you the first one that we've talked extensively on the show about is the skills gap in manufacturing. Mm-hmm. There's a perception about manufacturing being dark, dirty, and dangerous. And that's a 1950s view that has dragged forward in time. Today, manufacturing is experiencing very, very rapid technological change. I'll give you an example. We interviewed a company called Rethink Robotics. Rethink Robotics makes 2 robots. One's called Baxter, one's called Sawyer. Both of those robots fully equipped with interchangeable arms to be able to do several different things and work alongside humans because they're not large, and I mean 2-story tall machines doing welding and grinding in an automobile plant. We're sitting right next to you, picking up a gear and sliding it onto a shaft. Those come in at under $50,000. So your return on investment is 8 months. That's rapid technological change. So the skills gap is one. The coming of robotics into the workforce is another. The rapid technological change in all areas. One of the areas that we're going to be talking about again in the near future is 3D printing. We've talked about it in the past. The whole world of prototyping has changed dramatically. Even for GE, where they have 3D printing operations in very unique special factories they've set up to be able to knock out products on a test basis for a small group to see whether or not they want to go into full production.
Right.
Now, for manufacturers, that's a significant challenge, is how do I keep pace with that technological change?
Sure. Lou, did you have any to add to that?
Yeah. I wanted to talk a little bit further about 3D printing to point out Tim's point about the speed in which 3D printing has grown. 3D printing's been actually around 20 or 30 years. The last 3 years, it has, it's exploded. It's an $8 billion industry right now, and they're claiming by 2020 that it's going to be a $20 billion industry. We actually have a friend of ours who started a small 3D printing company, which basically makes prototype parts, and he went and got an investor, which I'm not at liberty to state who, but got an investor, and they bought 100 machines. And the plan, their long-term plan, is 1,000 machines. And how this works is that if they get orders, it automatically feeds into the computers. The 3D printer prints them, packages them overnight, and they get shipped out the next morning. And there's virtually no people involved. And however, it did take a lot of people to build those 1,000 machines. But the technology. Yeah, right. So here, this is only 4 years in, and there's already a production shop that can produce parts. Boeing Aircraft, which we sell raw materials to, they're buying 3D printed parts for the 787 Dreamliner. So it's really growing very rapidly, and it's almost difficult for the manufacturer, the mom-and-pop manufacturer, which makes up a good significant portion of our manufacturing economy. It makes it difficult for them to stay ahead of the pack.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay. And have you, in the 2 years that you've been doing the show, who are some notable, probably guests that people or manufacturers reading this article would know that they might be able to go back and look for?
Well, we've had, like I said earlier, 100 shows. We've probably had 80 or 90 guests, some of which are the Institute of Supply Management, for example. We've had Brad Holcomb. He's the chair of the Report on Business. Tom Derry, who's CEO of ISM. FMA, the Fabricators Manufacturing Association. We've had Ed Udell, president, on the show. ThomasNet, remember the old Thomas Green books? We've had 3, 4, 5 people on from vice presidents and directors and so on from ThomasNet many times. The National Association of Manufacturers. We've had a couple of their vice presidents, and NIST, the National Institute of Standards and Technology. So we have an expression that we get the right guest, we ask the right questions, and you get the right answers. And that's one of the things that we're trying to do.
Okay. And one of the issues that I write about quite often as manufacturing retail reporter, and also the women and millennial in business reporter. I kind of combine the two a lot, and I wonder, what manufacturers, not just in New Jersey but nationwide, have been doing to foster both of those demographics to maybe counteract the skills gap. And I'm wondering if you've learned anything about that from your guests.
Well, it's interesting that you asked, because just within the last 2 weeks, I was at Minneapolis at the Women in Manufacturing Summit, and then, which obviously was all about women in manufacturing, and we did broadcast live there, and we do actually have a couple of interviews, audio and video, on our website at mfgtalkradio.com. And this past week, Tim and I were at New Jersey Institute of Technology. We were the keynote speakers talking about the skills gap. And one of the solutions of the skills gap are women, are veterans, are handicapped. And I believe is it next week or the week after, Tim, that we're doing a show on that very topic? I don't have the schedule in front of me.
Yeah, I'm kind of lost too.
I think it's
maybe the week after.
I think maybe the 27th. So we're being very cognizant of the fact that we have a gap, a job gap. We have the positions to fill. We have 27 million people in poverty, and we've got millions of women who could do these jobs, millions of students, if they were trained properly for other than perhaps college, that they can become part of a huge manufacturing force where the money is good and the satisfaction is high.
Yeah, in terms of millennials, I'm sorry, Megan. In terms of millennials, I think what we're finding is that the manufacturers are now looking at the biggest issue that the millennials have, and that's their work-life balance. They really don't want to fly a desk in a cubicle for 40 hours a day for 40 years. So because of the changes in technology, a lot of the work they do or can do doesn't necessarily mean they have to be sitting at a desk in the office. They could be running a machine from 1,000 miles away on an iPad across the internet. So they're looking, and when November 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, we're going to be out at FabTech. FabTech is in Chicago this year. And we're looking at all of the machines there, and they've got something like 12 million square feet of machines there. And most of those are run by iPads. There are not a lot of operators anymore. So the manufacturers are looking for, first of all, I've got to attract the millennial into the operation to show them that it's high-tech, high-touch. And I can show them a better work-life balance because they don't have to be chained to a desk. I can show them it's not dark, dirty, and dangerous, and in fact, it's very innovative. And that's where they really need the millennials, because us gray hairs are past the point where we want to learn the next computer system. But the millennials just are eating it up.
Now, to add to that, a year, 2 years, 3 years into a manufacturing on the floor job, they're earning $77,000 average throughout the United States. If you make it above a technical person and you can become a manager, a supervisor, a foreman, or higher, you're well into the six figures. So it's not just the college kids that make the megabucks. Manufacturing, especially with the situation that exists now, and I don't know if it's going to continue that way, because we tend to do things for too long. So we wind up swinging the pendulum, and then we add too much to it, and then it goes the other way. So it's conceivable, but right now the point is that we need the people, we need to train people, we need to train the unemployed, we need to train, we've got the capital. I mean, we did this, and we brought this out at the NJIT event, was that during the Second World War, when troops were going off to Europe, primarily, they had to hire 5 million new people to take over manufacturing jobs, and 2.5 million of them were women. So they threw down their aprons, and they went to work. Somewhere that changed in the 50s. Like I said, that pendulum swings. But
right.
We have the resources. We need, and we are getting, I believe, support from the government, more than perhaps we did years ago. And it's this manufacturing day that this was the 4th year in a row. It was phenomenal. There were 2,400 companies throughout the 50 states, Canada, and Puerto Rico that opened up their plants to allow students, teachers, parents, educators to come in and see what their plants look like, and which was fabulous. And we got involved because we were able to broadcast from one of the events, and additionally, we did take in 15 students from one of the from the Passaic County Institute of Technology. We took them into a manufacturing plant here in New Jersey, take a tour, and see what manufacturing is like. And one of the kids happened to have been my godson, which may have started all of this in the first place. And he saw manufacturing in a very different light. And frankly, we have to teach the parents about it more and better. Because everybody wants...
You're right, Lou.
Yeah, go ahead, Tim.
That's the biggest issue. That's the biggest issue, is getting to the parents. The educational institutions are all over it, both in the STEM schools, the technical schools, the colleges and universities. But you're right, Lou. It's the parents, really, that still carry that old image in their head.
Right. And that's changing, but it needs to change quick. It really needs to change quick. I mean, we hear some very creative. We hear some very creative stories from manufacturing companies that we talk to all over the country on what they have done or have to do in order to get young, reliable workers that are willing to learn a craft. And some of the stories are very interesting, and they're too long to go into now. But we hear it all the time, that people in certain areas of the country are struggling to get people, and they have to come up with creative methods to find good, steady employees.
And so it seems, that it seems that both of you really enjoyed doing this, and so just the question is, what is it that you both find so rewarding in doing this manufacturing show?
Tim, you go first.
Well, I think Lou and I would have the same answer. We're really beginning to develop the show in a direction that we originally intended, and that was to help manufacturing understand really what they're up against and provide them with answers. Everybody who runs a manufacturing plant staring at a skills gap issue is doing the same kind of research on the internet, going, how do I get this solved? Who's watching the economy and saying, where is manufacturing going over the next 30 days, 90 days, 6 months? Is it going to stay soft? Is it going to become stronger? We really want to be the resource for that. And so that's the rewarding part, is when you're hearing, and Lou can share some of the stories with you, from listeners that we've provided what they believe to be a valuable service. You can cite some examples of that.
Yeah, it's really amazing. I don't know if you, I guess you got it because you've got some photographs. We have branded ourselves with screaming neon yellow jackets and black attire, and it has become the brand. And I mean, people see us. Especially we went out to Vegas, and there were 5 of us, and I mean, we looked like either a rock group or the car valet. We weren't quite sure which was the more popular of the two. But it has made a brand. We did go to another show where there were 1,800 people at a cocktail party, and we kind of went off in 5 different directions, and within a half hour, the whole room knew who we were. And I assure you that didn't happen with other people. So it's really been fun. It has become a passion. It's easy. Well, I shouldn't say it's easy work. It's if you really like something, it becomes easy, and if you hate something, it becomes hard. But we think that we're doing some good for the reasons that we mentioned earlier, as well as, by the way, Manufacturing Talk Radio does bring in people from the internet through the website and to come visit All Metals and Forge Group, and we have made some customers. So that was the original intent. Some of it's happening. I don't know how much. We don't know how many dollar revenue, but I know it's happening. And that's also a fun part.
So let's talk a little bit about your background. And then do we have a time to cut off? And that way I know what needs to be sent over by
I'm
email?
open, so I don't know what you are, Tim.
Yeah, I do not have a hard stop.
Okay, so let's just see how far we get. So, Lou, and then when was All Metals started?
1972.
Okay, and was it founded by you? Founded by?
Yeah, it was founded by me.
Okay, and that's also headquartered in Fairfield, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, and how many employees do you have?
35.
And the best metrics that I could find in terms of talking about the size and scope of your business, on the website it says you sell millions of dollars in your products globally. Is that annually?
Yeah, we're just short of 20 million, and
okay.
We produce steel forged parts for many different industries, from aerospace to mining, oil and gas, machinery builders, chemical plants, anything where heavy steel components would be required, gear blanks, and so on.
And how did you get into this business?
I needed a job. No, it's true. I went to 42nd Street. I walked into one of those employment offices and said I need a job. I was 18 years old, and they said, "Well," he said, "we've got a job out in Brooklyn. I think it's aluminum siding." I took the job. It turned out it was not aluminum siding, but we were at that time brokers selling raw materials to manufacturers, and I took a liking to it. Went to school, took up business administration and marketing, and I kept with it.
Huh. And then this company in particular, how did you come across a certain type of product? Is that how you learned?
Well, when I got into the industry at 18 and I was going to school, I started applying things I was learning in school in my day job, and it just blossomed from there. And I took, I guess I had a natural marketing instinct. matter of fact, here in the office, they call it the bubble machine, to turn off the bubble machine, because they can't keep up fast enough with the stuff that comes out of my mouth. Sometimes that's good and sometimes it's bad.
Right.
Would you agree with that, Tim?
And
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's really why I ended up joining with Lou as a consultant, is because he can think of new ideas faster than his staff can implement them. So he needed an outside resource to help him with that. Very creative.
and so, in terms of being a New Jersey business, talking about your business, particularly in the manufacturing industry in the state, any benefits, drawbacks, trends, anything worth mentioning?
Well, we're based in New Jersey. We certainly sell our products to manufacturers here in New Jersey, but the nature of the business is, heavy industry is everywhere, and we sell all over North America as well as export, and we produce material here. We buy certain products overseas and import, and we do export. So we've become a full-service material supplier. And even with that, our website, steelforge.com, also when we created that in 1994, I think it was, we wanted it to be not only a sales lead promoter, but an information resource. So there's a lot of information on our website that draws traffic to, pull reports on different raw materials. There's news items on there. We have a newsletter that we publish every month, which it's almost not a newsletter. Last month's issue was 20 pages long. And we talk about the metals in the manufacturing industry in the newsletter. So we've got about 52,000 subscribers to our newsletter for the metals company. For all.
Sorry, what was that number?
52,000.
Oh wow. Okay. And that's through the company. That's through the through the news, the company's newsletter.
Right.
Okay.
It's called manufacturing.
And do you just have the?
It's called manufacturing. It's called Metals and Manufacturing Outlook.
Okay. Do you
And if New Jersey
have
Biz,
the?
and if New Jersey Biz would like to advertise on the newsletter, I know somebody who can get you a good deal.
I won't pass that information along.
Okay. You get your usual commission.
Do you have any other locations or plans to expand?
No, I think we're pretty well situated now in terms of our corporate structure and what our needs are. Right now, and I presume you're talking about the all metals. Right now, the manufacturing market is feeling a bit of a dip. So I think everybody's kind of holding fast and saying, let's see how this plays out. So we're not really looking to do much of an expansion at this point.
So then, do you have any short-term and long-term goals for your business?
Make money and lots of it. No, we don't.
And
we
right
don't,
now,
we don't want to say that. No, it's just to continue and grow our business to serve our customers. We've been around, a long time. We have a quality product. We are ISO 9000 registered, and we have been for 21 years. And any corporate certifications that we need in order to sell certain customers, we go out and get those. We did have a a sales office in Brazil, which
Okay.
right now Brazil is having a bit of a problem, both economically and politically, as I'm sure you're aware. So things there are on the quiet side. But, we keep on coming up with new bubbles, and when something is not busy, we make something else busy.
Okay. Tim, if we could talk a little bit about your career background, and I understand your title is Senior Strategist and Business Advisor. Is that correct?
Correct, with a firm called Netmark International. On the web, it's really netmarkadvisors.com.
Okay. And how long have you been a consultant? Or, I'm sorry, a business advisor?
Since 1986.
And same question to you. How did you become involved in this? And do you specifically focus on manufacturing?
I don't specifically focus on manufacturing. I actually the firm works in all industries, save maybe retail. We don't do a lot in retail. We do more in wholesale distribution, manufacturing, the industrial marketplaces. I really got involved in it because I'd gone through a career in banking. I'd gone through a career in technology. And then the technology organization that I was with got sold. And I went through a couple of downsizings. And I said, this isn't much fun. I'd rather control my own destiny. So I started my own business, knowing that now it's up to me, and I'm not likely to sell my own business and fire myself, unless it's a big check.
Right.
So that's really how I got into it. I did not want to go through the next downturn.
And where are you based?
I was originally based in Los Angeles. The company moved to New Jersey to take on a very large project on the East Coast in New York. There was a personal opportunity for my family in the Atlanta area, so in 2005 the company shifted its headquarters to Atlanta.
Okay, and I'm just reading through what I just wrote. So Netmark Advisors, this is your company?
That's correct.
Okay. And let's see. And same question to you: are there any metrics we can use? Talk about estimated revenue, growth statistics. Where your company is in size and scope of it.
Over the course of 30 years, I think the one metric that stands out the most is that our average client tenure is 6 years. Now, with Lou's company, it's 22 years. In an industry where the average consulting gig is 6 months. And it's very similar to an experience that we've had very favorably with Lou. He has lots of great ideas. It's infrequent that I come to Lou and say, Lou, I got a great idea for you. He has lots of great ideas. He can't get them implemented. He can't get them done. And that's where we step in. And I guess the most enjoyable part of the experience is when a client says, yeah, but we can't do that. And we look at it and go, why not? Let's try it. So Lou's very much an out-of-the-box thinker, and we're very much an out-of-the-box consulting firm.
So we make lots of
noise. When he came to us with radio, that's very out-of-the-box for somebody in manufacturing. So that was like, well, that's a really cool idea.
Okay. And I guess same. The last question is short and long-term business goals. For your company.
I think they're both the same. Meg, we're looking at the reason that we do what we do is because I personally have a very short attention span. So if I'm actually, it's true. If I'm actually an employee and I'm doing the same thing every day for 6 months, a year, 18 months, I just want to quit. I can't work on projects that are 3, 4, 5 years. I wouldn't be probably very good at helping Boeing build an aircraft.
Right.
We did help Microsoft solve a very quick problem when they were coming out with Windows 2003. And they were very concerned about piracy of disks that were being manufactured, but the disks weren't coming out quite right. They weren't sure that the initial disks that they were running contained all of the data that they needed, but they needed a way to destroy the disk. And in a phone call, we came up with a solution for it. And then literally they called us, they said, this is what we're up against. We chatted about it. 15 minutes later, we gave them a recommendation, which they implemented. Don't know if they still use it today. But at the time, it solved their problem in a phone call. That's fun stuff to do. Very creative, outside the box. And that's where we like to operate. Because, as I said, I get bored easily.
Okay. I do need to wrap up and get on another call, but I will say that if I know I sent over a couple of additional questions, and I won't be actually revisiting this until next week in terms of actually writing it. So if there were any questions that we didn't have time to ask, feel free to email those responses. And if vice versa, if there's, as I'm writing the article, if there's any clarifying questions, I'll reach out by email and we'll go from there. And that's probably the easiest way.
Yeah. Feel free.
Okay.
Okay, now.
Okay, great. Well, thanks so much. I really appreciate your time.
As far as you know, you're planning this for the October, 26th, 27th issue?
Let me take a look. As far as I know, and that could always change. It would. I'm hoping to have it done for the next 2 weeks, sometime in the next 2 weeks, depending on breaking news and the room in the paper and all that. That may change, but that's my goal.
Did the photographs help you?
Yes, they did. I think I will put in. I'll send those photographs to our photographer and our designer as well, and see what we can still need, or if we need to send a photographer, or what we can take in terms of. Okay. Because I understand that Tim, you're in Atlanta, so. So we will figure that out.
Okay. Now, just as a reminder for me, when you, as I remember, it goes into the magazine and you have a circulation of what? I don't remember.
I can send you over those numbers. I believe it's a 15,000 circulation on the web when it does, because all of the articles do go on the web. Right. It's about 500,000.
Okay. When it goes on the web, can we put a link either in the article or in the photographs, linking it back to our website?
To have, I think we may be able to do that. I need to double check, but I don't think that'd be a problem. Okay,
because if so, I want to create a special landing page, so we know that the traffic came from the results of your publication. Okay?
Gotcha. Okay.
All righty.
I will. We'll press forward and figure those logistics out.
Very good.
And so you may be getting an email from today or tomorrow.
Okay, that's swell. Tim, anything else?
All right.
No, I think that's it, Megan. I appreciate you taking the time. If you have any other questions, give us a call. We'll be glad to answer them.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Take care, Meg. Bye-bye.